Variable scope explained, local variables, module level variables, and global variables in Excel VBA. Have you ever created a variable in one procedure and then tried to use it somewhere else, only to discover VBA says it doesn't exist? Or maybe you've wondered why does one variable work in one user form but not in another? Also, why does VBA seems to forget certain values? The answer lies in something called variable scope. Understanding scope is one of the biggest steps from writing simple VBA macros to building professional applications. Today, I'll show you exactly how local variables, module variables, and global variables work and when to use each one. Let's get started. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Raphael, and on this channel, we learn how to transform Excel into a professional software development platform using VBA. So far in our VBA developer series, we've covered variables, data types, and option explicit. Today we are going one level deeper because creating variables is only half of the story. The next question is, where can those variables be accessed? And that's exactly what variable scope controls. Whether you are building a payroll system, an inventory system, school management system, POS applications, or staff attendance system, understanding variable scope is essential. One may ask, what is variable scope? Let's start with a simple definition. Variable scope determines where a variable can be seen and used within your application. Think of variable scope as access permissions. Some variables are private, some are shared, whilst others are available everywhere. The scope you choose determines who can access the information stored inside that variable. Understanding what local variables are. The most common type of variable is a local variable. A local variable exists only inside the procedure where it is created. Let's look at this example. Sub register student, and in that procedure we will write dim student name as string. Student name is John Doe, and sub, and that ends the procedure. Here, student name only exists inside register student. The moment the procedure finishes running, the variable disappears and set the stage for another to run. Let's look at it in this way. Imagine writing information on a whiteboard inside your office. Only the people inside the office can see it. When you erase the board, the information is gone. And that's exactly how local variable behaves. Let's look at why local variables are important. Local variables help keep your code organized. They reduce accidental changes, improve performance, make debugging easier, and keep procedures independent. Professional developers use local variables whenever information is only needed temporarily. Let's look at some common beginner mistakes that you are likely to make. Consider this code. Sub procedure 1. Dim student name as string. Student name is John. End sub. And also look at this. Sub procedure 2. Message box student name. End sub. Let's look at this code in action by running procedure 2. VBA immediately generates an error that says variable not defined. Why? Because student name only exists inside procedure 1. Let's try this other method by calling procedure 2 inside procedure 1. So we would write call and run the code once more. We got the same error message even though we've called procedure 2 in procedure 1. Let's look at module level variables. What if multiple procedures inside the same module need access to the same variable? That's where module level variable come in. Instead of declaring the variable inside a procedure, you place it at the top of the module. Example: private student name as string. Notice that this variable is outside any of the procedure. Now let's run procedure 2. The code runs and there's no error. This is because both procedure can access the variable, and we can also call procedure 2 in procedure 1. Run the code. The code runs again without any error. Think of module level variable as a department notice board. Everyone in that department can read it, but people in other departments cannot. That's exactly how module level variable works. All procedures inside the module can use them, but outside modules cannot. Now let's go one step further. What if user form 1, user form 2, dashboard module, and reports module all need the same information? That's where global variable come in. Let's look at this example. Public current user as string. Notice the keyword public. Now every module and user form in the project can access this type of variable, current user. Imagine you are building a login system where you declared this global variable, public current user as string. Then you write this procedure, sub user, and inside the procedure you can write current user is Raphael. Now every form can identify the logged in user. For example, on the dashboard, in the reports module, in the print reports, in attendance module, and also in the save module. Let's demonstrate this by inserting a new user form. Add a label to it, LBL user. Now double click on the user form, and in the user form initialize event, let's write call user. Also LBL user dot caption should be current user. Now let's run the application. We can see that LBL user could call on current user. The information is available throughout the application. Now let's change the public to private. And run the user form. The error message variable not defined appears again. Now you know what a local variable is, a module level variable is, and what a global variable is. Although global variables are powerful, making too much use of it creates problems. Imagine 50 procedures changing the same variable. Soon nobody knows who changed it, when it changed, and why it changed. The application becomes difficult to maintain. That is why professional developers use global variables carefully. They use it only when information genuinely needs to be shared across the entire project. Let's look at these examples. Imagine we are building Rafina School Manager. We would write our variables in this manner. In declaring a local variable, we would say Dean student age as integer. This would be used only while validating a form. For module level variable, we would say private select student ID as long. This is shared between procedures within the student module. And for global variable, we would write public current user as string. This variable would be used throughout the application after login. Notice that each variable has a different purpose, and each variable uses a different scope. This structure keeps large applications organized and manageable. Let's take a look at this scope comparison table. Local is used for current procedures only. Module level is for current module, while global is for the entire project. Think of it like this. Local represents your office, while module level represents your department, and global represents the entire company. Whenever you create a variable, ask yourself, who needs to access this information? For only one procedure, use local variable. For multiple procedures in the module, use module level variable. And for the entire application, use global variable. Always choose the smallest possible scope possible. This makes your code safer and easier to maintain. Today you've learned what variable scope is, how local variables work, how module level variables work, how global variables work, when to use each type, common mistakes to avoid, and professional development practices. Understanding scope is one of the key skills that separates VBA developers from VBA users. Because as your project grows, managing information becomes just as important as writing code. In the next episode, we will look at sub-procedure and functions. If you found this tutorial helpful, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe for more VBA development tutorials, and in the comment below, have you ever used global variable in your VBA projects? I'd love to hear what you are building. Thank you for watching and see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.